Your home feels safe. It is safe, but there are a few things sitting in it right now. Things you touch every single day that are quietly harboring bacteria that can cause serious infections, and in rare but very real cases, those infections can escalate into sepsis, which is a genuine medical emergency. I've worked in hospitals, I've seen what happens when these infections take hold, and the thing that always stays with me is how preventable so many of them were. So today, I want to walk you through 8 everyday household items that most people never think twice about, but probably should. For each one, I'll tell you what's actually growing on it, why it matters, and what you can do about it. If that sounds useful to you, stick around. And if you get something out of this, subscribing to this channel genuinely helps me get this kind of information in front of more people. Item number 8. Door handles and light switches. Starting at number 8, we have the things you touch without a second thought. Doorknobs, light switches, and cabinet handles. Think about it. You come home. Your hands are covered in microbes from the outside world. And what's the first thing you touch? A doorknob, then a light switch. These surfaces become invisible highways for germs, letting them travel from person to person and room to room. The problem: while you might point to the bathroom doorknob as the main culprit, a study from the National Sanitation Foundation, NSF, found other handles are often far worse. Refrigerator handles, stove knobs, and microwave handles consistently rank higher in bacterial contamination. Why? Because you're often touching them right in the middle of preparing food, which can transfer bacteria from raw foods to these surfaces ready to be picked up by the next person. The risk: these high-touch surfaces can host a variety of bacteria, including Staphylococcus. If you have a small unnoticed cut on your hand, touching a contaminated handle can introduce that bacteria into your system and cause an infection. While it's not a direct leap, a skin infection that isn't cared for properly is one of the known pathways that can, in some cases, escalate to sepsis. It's all about breaking that chain of infection. The solution: thankfully, the solution is simple and doesn't require obsessive wiping. Just make it part of a quick daily routine. At the end of the day, take a disinfecting wipe and give these high-traffic spots a once-over. This includes light switches, fridge and microwave handles, and the main doorknobs. It's a small habit that can dramatically cut down the germ traffic in your home. Item number 7. Your pet's belongings. We all love our furry family members, but let's be honest, their hygiene standards aren't quite the same as ours. Coming in at number 7, it's your pet's food bowls and toys. Our pets bring us so much joy, but they also track in bacteria from the great outdoors right into our homes. The problem: studies have shown that pet bowls are one of the germiest items in the home. Just think about it. Your pet eats and drinks from the bowl, and it sits on the floor collecting dust and other contaminants. That slimy layer you feel inside a water bowl is called a biofilm, which is a sticky colony of bacteria. Pet toys, especially the soft, porous ones, are perfect little incubators for germs they pick up from the floor and their mouths. The risk: the germs found on these items can include things like Salmonella and E. coli. After petting your dog or picking up this slobbery toy, you might rub your eye or grab a snack. That simple act can transfer those bacteria. For most healthy people, this might just lead to a mild stomach bug. But for young children, the elderly, or anyone with a weakened immune system, these germs can cause more serious infections. And a severe untreated gut infection is another potential trigger for the systemic inflammation that defines sepsis. The solution: this is another fix where a simple routine makes all the difference. Wash your pet's food and water bowls daily. Don't just rinse them. Use hot, soapy water to properly remove that biofilm. Hard toys should be washed regularly the same way, and soft toys can be run through a hot cycle in the washing machine. And the most important step: wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water after you handle your pet's toys or bowls. Item number 6. The shower loofah. Next up, at number 6, we're heading into the bathroom, but not for the toilet. We're talking about your shower loofah. You use it to scrub yourself clean, but you might just be smearing a thriving bacterial colony all over your body. The problem: a loofah, whether it's natural or a synthetic plastic puff, is a perfect storm for microbial growth. First, you use it to scrub off dead skin cells, which become food for bacteria. Then, you leave it in the shower, a warm, wet, and humid environment where it probably never fully dries out. One dermatologist called it a beautiful breeding ground for bacteria. Studies have shown that loofahs can be colonized by a wide variety of bacteria, including species like Pseudomonas aeruginosa and Staphylococcus. The risk: An infectious disease specialist at the Cleveland Clinic warns that if you have staph bacteria on your skin, the real danger comes when you use that contaminated loofah after shaving. A tiny invisible nick in your skin is like an open door. Scrubbing that spot with a germ-filled loofah can push bacteria directly into your tissue, potentially causing a skin infection like cellulitis or folliculitis. And as we've established, a bacterial skin infection is a known risk factor for developing sepsis if it gets severe. The solution? First, try not to use a loofah on your face or on freshly shaved skin. After every use, rinse it thoroughly, shake it out, and hang it to dry somewhere outside the shower where there's better air circulation. Once a week, you can disinfect a plastic loofah by soaking it in a diluted bleach or vinegar solution. Most importantly, replace it regularly. A natural loofah should be tossed every 3 to 4 weeks and a plastic one every 2 months. Or, even better, switch to a silicone body scrubber, which is non-porous and much easier to keep clean. Item number 5. The toothbrush holder. Staying in the bathroom for number 5, we come to an item that's almost universally ignored during cleaning, the toothbrush holder. You trust it to keep the tool you put in your mouth safe, but it could be one of the filthiest spots in your house. The problem? A foundational germ study by NSF International found that toothbrush holders were a major germ hotspot. While it's a rare event, this is a direct way to introduce pathogens that can cause systemic infections, the very precursor to sepsis. The solution? First off, make it a habit to close the toilet lid before you flush. This one action dramatically reduces the spread of that toilet plume. If you can, store your toothbrush at least 6 feet away from the toilet. Don't use a toothbrush cover, as it traps moisture and helps bacteria grow. Let your brush air dry in an upright position. And finally, clean the holder. At least once or twice a week, wash it with hot soapy water or run it through the dishwasher. Item number 4. The computer keyboard. At number 4 is the device you're likely touching for hours every single day, your computer keyboard. It sits there collecting dust, crumbs, and an invisible world of germs, and it may be far filthier than you can imagine. The problem? Researchers from the University of Arizona famously found that the average desktop has 400 times more bacteria than the average toilet seat. Keyboards are a perfect habitat for germs. The spaces between keys trap skin cells, food particles, and oils, creating a buffet for microorganisms. Many of us eat at our desks, dropping crumbs that supercharge this growth. An NSF study found yeast, mold, and even staphylococcus on household keyboards. Shared keyboards are even worse, essentially becoming a trading post for microbes. The risk? The types of bacteria on keyboards can be concerning, including common culprits like E. coli and staph. In healthcare settings, studies have even found that drug-resistant superbugs like MRSA can survive on a keyboard for up to 24 hours. Think about it. You type an email, then rub your eye, touch your face, or eat a sandwich. This is a direct hand-to-mouth transfer route for pathogens. If you have a hangnail or a small paper cut, typing can be enough to introduce these bacteria and cause an infection. That initial infection, if it becomes severe, could be the trigger for a septic response. The solution? Make cleaning your keyboard a weekly habit. First, turn it off or unplug it. Turn it upside down and gently shake out any loose debris. Use compressed air to blow out anything stuck between the keys. Then, use a disinfecting wipe or a cloth lightly dampened with a proper cleaning solution to wipe down all the surfaces. And maybe the most effective tip, stop eating at your desk. If you cut off the germs' food supply, you make the environment much less inviting for them. Item number 3, the reusable water bottle. Claiming the number 3 spot is an item many of us use for our health and the environment, the reusable water bottle. While you're doing the planet a favor, you might be doing your body a disservice if you're not cleaning it properly. The problem? Here's where the stats get a little wild. Some studies have suggested that the average reusable water bottle can harbor tens of thousands or even more colony-forming units of bacteria. The warm, moist interior is a paradise for bacterial growth. Researchers have found 2 main types of bacteria thriving in them: gram-negative rods, which are increasingly antibiotic resistant, and bacillus, which can cause gastrointestinal issues. One study even confirmed that over 20% of bottles they sampled contained coliform bacteria, a sign of fecal contamination. The risk? Every time you take a sip, you're transferring bacteria from your mouth to the bottle. If you touch the spout after touching other surfaces, you're adding new germs to the mix. These bacteria then have the perfect dark, damp environment to multiply. Drinking from a contaminated bottle is essentially giving yourself a dose of bacteria which can lead to anything from food poisoning to urinary tract infections or pneumonia. A serious UTI or gastrointestinal infection is a very common starting point for sepsis. The solution? This is non-negotiable. You have to wash your water bottle daily. And a quick rinse isn't enough. Use hot water and unscented dish soap. And get a bottle brush to scrub the interior walls and the bottom. Pay close attention to the lid, especially if it has a screw top or a straw, as these are often the germiest parts. Allow the bottle and all its pieces to dry completely before you put them back together. For a deeper clean once a week, you can soak it in a diluted vinegar solution. And material matters. Studies suggest stainless steel bottles tend to harbor fewer bacteria than plastic ones. Item number 2. The mobile phone. It's your constant companion. It goes everywhere with you, from your bed to your office and yes, even to the bathroom. At number 2, it's your mobile phone and it is a portable petri dish. The problem? Numerous studies confirm that cell phones are crawling with germs, often carrying many times more bacteria than a toilet seat. One study found that smartphones can harbor over 25,000 bacteria per square inch. A survey revealed that a large majority of people admit to using their phones in the bathroom, creating a direct link to fecal bacteria like E. coli. It gets worse. Studies have detected Staphylococcus aureus, which causes staph infections, on a high percentage of phones, and even the dangerous antibiotic-resistant superbug MRSA on some devices. The phone's warm surface, heated by the processor, just makes it a cozy home for these germs. The risk. The danger is the constant cycle of contamination. You touch a doorknob, a gas pump, or a shopping cart. Then you immediately touch your phone, transferring all those microbes. A few minutes later, you hold that phone to your face, bringing germs right up to your mouth, nose, and eyes. You might handle your phone while eating, contaminating your food. This hand-to-phone-to-face pathway is incredibly efficient at spreading germs. Like other items on this list, the problem isn't just getting bacteria on your hands. The problem is when they find a way in. An infection from Staph or E. coli that starts from a contaminated phone and an unwashed hand can be the first step on the path to sepsis. The solution? Clean your phone daily. That might sound like a lot, but think about how often you touch it. Use a disinfecting wipe made for electronics or a 70% isopropyl alcohol wipe to clean the screen and case. Don't forget the case itself. More importantly, change your habits. Stop taking your phone into the bathroom. It's a simple boundary that cuts off a major contamination route. And finally, use the most powerful hygiene tool of all. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water, especially after being in public and before you eat. Item number 1. The kitchen sponge. And here we are, at number 1, the single germiest, most bacteria-infested item in most homes. It's not the toilet seat. It's not your phone. It's the humble kitchen sponge. The problem? The kitchen sponge is, without exaggeration, a microbiological hotspot. A landmark 2017 German study that analyzed used kitchen sponges found something astounding. A single cubic centimeter can contain around 50 billion bacteria. They identified 362 different species of bacteria living inside them. Over 75% of household sponges in other studies test positive for coliform bacteria, meaning they're contaminated with fecal matter. That foul, sour sponge smell is often caused by a bacteria called Moraxella osloensis, which can be present in incredibly high concentrations. When you think you're cleaning your dishes, you could just be spreading a concentrated film of bacteria over every surface you wipe. The risk? The bacteria thriving in your sponge are a who's who of foodborne pathogens. Salmonella, E. coli, and Staphylococcus are all commonly found there. The main danger is cross-contamination. You wipe up a spill from raw chicken, and now the sponge has salmonella. You then use that same sponge to wipe your clean countertop. This is how food poisoning happens. An infection from one of these pathogens can cause severe gastrointestinal distress. And for a vulnerable person, a severe infection can escalate. When bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli get into the bloodstream from the gut, it can trigger that life-threatening septic response. The solution? Here's the hard truth. Experts say that trying to clean your sponge is often a losing battle. While microwaving a wet sponge or running it through the dishwasher can help, some studies found this might only kill the weaker bacteria, allowing the more resilient, potentially dangerous ones to thrive. The single best recommendation from microbiologists is blunt. Replace your sponge frequently, as often as once a week. An even better solution is to ditch the sponge for most kitchen tasks and switch to a dish brush. Dish brushes dry out much faster and are less porous, making them far less friendly to bacterial growth. So, what have we learned? We've learned that the germiest spots in our homes are often the ones we associate with cleaning. We've learned that moisture is bacteria's best friend. And most importantly, we've learned that the link between an everyday object and a serious condition like sepsis is a chain of events that starts with a simple infection. The power to break that chain is in your hands. It's in closing the toilet lid. It's in washing your water bottle every day. It's in replacing that kitchen sponge without mercy. Awareness is your first line of defense. Simple, consistent hygiene is your most powerful weapon. Your home is your sanctuary. And now you have the blueprint to make it not just feel safe, but to be scientifically safer. Stay aware, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next video.